An initial exposition of Bush's claim to have acted under threats on 9/11 came in a September 13th New York Times column entitled "Inside the Bunker" from William Safire, a hardened old neocon sinner from the Nixon White House. According to Safire, a threatening message received by the Secret Service was relayed to the agents with the president that Air Force One is next. According to the high official, American code words were used showing a knowledge of procedures that made the threat credible. That's a little bit from 9/11 Synthetic Terror Made in the USA by Webster Griffin Tarpley. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Stench of Truth. Just a reminder, Stench of Truth Radio on blogtalkradio.com/the Stench of Truth. Last week's guest was Solaris Blue Raven, who talked about mind control and electronic harassment. This week I will be talking to Michael Dell, who does a show on Blog Talk Radio called LCS. It's actually a hockey show, but he has a very strong interest in conspiracy theories, so we're going to be discussing some historical conspiracies. Who really wrote Shakespeare, the death of Kurt Cobain, the death of Edgar Allan Poe, and what really happened with the kidnapping of the Lindbergh baby. So that should be pretty interesting. So join me every week, Friday, from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time on blogtalkradio.com/the Stench of Truth. I still may be moving to a network. Hopefully I'll have that issue resolved this week. I've just been really busy, so I haven't been able to coordinate on that. So I'll keep you informed if that turns out to be the case. Anyway, welcome to the Stench of Truth here on YouTube. I wanted to comment on a few things. First, the apparent division and conflict between the President Appeaser Obama and Netanyahu regarding Israel and peace and the two-state solution. It's my own firm belief that we're going to have some recognition of a Palestinian state in the not-too-distant future, which is going to change the dynamic in the region a lot, and Israel is going to be put on the hot seat regarding this matter. But anyone who has any inkling of an idea that President Obama is in any way trying to enforce an idea or be strong-armed towards Israel is very sorely mistaken. There's no way at all that Obama is going to, no way that he's going to try to enforce any kind of activity against Israel and force an idea of moving back to 1967 borders. The entire role of Obama, as I've said before, again and again and again, is that this man is the ultimate appeaser. Okay? He's the ultimate appeaser, and this is exactly what he does. He'll take up a position, and then he will go completely counter to it. So, if he's saying right now that they need to go back to the 67 borders for peace, that means that they keep everything that they have. That's what he's really saying. Because all you got to do is look at his fucking record and you'll see that that is in fact the case. Now, in furtherance of the idea of blowback from the supposed killing of the supposed Osama Bin Laden, okay, we have an increase in militant attacks in Afghanistan and Iraq, even as some of our allies are pulling out of that region. Now, what this is definitely a show. It's a show along with the same sort of things that they're uncovering in the United States about the insidious homegrown terrorism here, with the various plots that are uncovered in a very timely fashion, mind you, of people planning on supposed terrorist actions. right after we didn't kill Osama Bin Laden in a non-raid on a non-compound where he wasn't living. And this serves the agenda right in time with an extension of the Patriot Act, which looks like it's going to go through. The world stage has remained pretty much unchanged when it comes to the kind of scenarios that are playing out and where this is all leading. So, do not be fooled by any of the rhetoric that you see coming out, okay? Because that's all it is rhetoric. There's no way Obama is going to, stand up hard against Israel and demand that they actually, work towards peace and, abide by any kind of resolutions that are given to them, okay? And the recent Nakba protests that happened along the border there are going to, ignite more tension in that region. And I wouldn't be surprised if Israel engaged in another war against Gaza and the Palestinians and Lebanon in another attempt to supposedly go after Hamas and Hezbollah and this sort of thing. Especially as now there is a lawsuit here in the United States that alleges that Iran was involved in the planning of 9/11, which is highly convenient for the furtherance of this entire agenda of going after Iran. And we'll have to see how that one plays out. But don't be fooled by this. Also, just another brief note on the GOP side of things. Who is this Cain guy? This guy is a complete insider. If he's setting himself up to run and is going to be the candidate, why, I guess, you're going to get a hard line Obama. Someone who's going to, go from the right perspective of the corporate party system and, shove a whole bunch of crap down our throats that we don't like. But as you look at some of the other GOP candidates, apparently because they've been so incredibly busted and made to look like assholes so thoroughly by their constituents who film their town hall meetings when they deny that there are corporate subsidies to oil companies, and when they say to their angry constituents' face that they're for ending it, and then immediately go back to Washington and vote for continuing the fucking subsidies to the companies that make billions of dollars in profits, while at the same time trying to support the failed, ridiculous, murder your grandmother plan of Paul Ryan to privatize Medicare. And now, because of this, a couple of them are trying to ban the filming of their town hall meetings because they do not want to be shown to be the corporate shills that they are. Now, mind you, if there were Democrats who were, significant runners in the upcoming election, the same exact scenario would be playing out because, let's face it, the Democrats have done absolutely nothing to carve away at the corporate power system in this country, which just goes to prove exactly what I've said before, that the Democrats are just as much in the pocket of the corporate system and will do everything in their power to maintain it because the money continues to flow into their coffers as well. One final comment on the entire Harold Camping-Rapture thing. I've said many times that people are always looking for heroes and saviors. I did a couple videos on this to point out that you need to embrace the fact that your heroes are dead and there's no one going to come from the sky to save you. And yet there are people that latch on to the idea of a rapture and a salvation that's coming from somewhere else because they feel an overwhelming sense of powerlessness and they're looking for some other way, some means where they are not required to use their power, they're not required to exercise their power, someone else is going to come and they're going to do something and everything's going to be taken care of. Well, I got news for you. That is not going to fucking happen. You hear me? People need to realize that they have an inherent power within themselves and within groups. If you took that entire fucking group of people who were sitting there waiting for the rapture to happen and had them engaging in active protest against all of the iniquities in this society, no matter what it is, they could fight for whatever they wanted. It doesn't even matter if it conforms to what I think needs to change. If they actually did something instead of waiting for someone or something else to come along and actually save them from having to actually do anything at all. Imagine that they could have some effect. And yet they don't. And part of it is not their fault. They feel a sense of powerlessness because they're overwhelmed by all of the things that are happening here. But you need to get over that. You need to embrace the idea that you have power. And you need to take control of that. And you need to start moving in that direction. You gotta throw that off. And for all the apathetic people out there, you have to throw that off and you have to say, I am going to do something different. I am going to take charge of myself and I am going to try and make change, because there is nobody who's going to come down from the sky and miraculously make everything better in this country. It's just not going to happen. Whew! Turns out Jesus made a mistake. He thought it was someone else with the same name. So here I am back again. Thank you. Good day.